Oh, you caught me. It already got there. Already started on me. Well, good Monday afternoon, everybody. Hey, it's Joey Wilcoxon here at Bullfrog Radio, sitting here on the back porch of the field house, looking at these clouds as they ring out all their rain, and I see some sun peeping through over there a little bit. Well, hey y'all, we came off a fantastic win this last Thursday. I say Friday. I was out watching down in Southeast Texas, down in Vidor, watching alumni and my older brother Tony Wilcox and his oldest son down in Vidor as they took their victory to making the playoffs. But this last Thursday night, the Bullfrogs. Nah, does not say manhandled. Well, I'll say manhandled. We handled business against Eastern Hills. Coming into that game on Thursday night was an unknown a little bit after looking earlier in district play as Eastern Hills had toppled Dunbar, and Dunbar had beaten Lake Worth a couple weeks ago. And so it was a question in everybody's mind is what was going to happen. Did Eastern Hills have all those guns in order to be able to beat Dunbar? Those of y'all that didn't go back and watch film, that none of those Fort Worth games are broadcast or anything normally, except out of a BC broadcast. I can't remember the guy's name. Anyways, none of those games are normally broadcast, so unless you went back and you had access to film, you would have seen in that Dunbar and Eastern Hills game that there was some issues there on the Dunbar side that caused them to lose that game. So coming into last Thursday night, everybody's unknown. What does Eastern Hills have that Lake Worth's got to worry about? And they had a couple of great players in there, Durst and Hill, their two main players, that really try to get something going, but they were not a match for these Lake Worth Bullfrogs. The Bullfrogs ended up beating Eastern Hills 52-0 with a running clock starting in the third quarter for sportsmanlike courtesy. And the Bullfrogs just really came out and really showed what a playoff caliber team this is. Although there were still some minor mistakes in there, and we'll get to that with the coaches a little bit here in a little bit. But although there were some minor mistakes in there, Bullfrogs came out looking really, really superb in that matchup. I'm just going to go over a couple of things as I sit here, and the coaches are finishing up some things inside. We're going to go over and touch over a couple of things, how this district wound up at the end of the season. So for 4A Region 2, 4A1 Region 2 District 6, which is where Lake Worth falls in. Lake Worth shares as a by-district championship at the top of the charts. By-district champion, 6-1, and they take the 1 seed going into playoffs. Kennedale 6-1 as well, and they take the number 2 seed going into playoffs. Dunbar ended up with the number 3 seed, 5-2. And then an upset with the way things fell for, even though Eastern Hills beat Western Hills, it looks like Western Hills got the 4th seed in the way that all panned out. So Eastern Hills losing that game to Lake Worth last week took them out of the playoffs. So Western Hills will be in the playoffs. And those matchups, give you guys a little bit about what those matchups are going to be. Of course, Lake Worth will be playing Alvarado up at Apogee Stadium up at UNT, and that'll be this Friday night. Also, this Friday night, Carter Riverside. That's the winner of the next game will be where it falls into place. Why am I looking at this wrong? Carter Riverside here. Okay, I see there. Look, pulling up these details here of these games. I'm sorry, not Carter Riverside. Carter Riverside's out of the playoffs. Carter and Dallas Carter and Sulphur Springs. Is that Dallas Carter? Let's see. Make sure we're looking at the right ones here. Yeah, Carter Cowboys and Sulphur Spring Wildcats. They'll face off. And so the Bullfrogs, they look forward just to this week coming up against Alvarado, and they're not worried about that next game, but just giving you guys a preview of who's playing and who will match up with be the winner of that Wildcats and Cowboys game. And that one is going to be played They don't actually have the location of that game posted yet. Okay. So, but looking further in this district and where everybody went to, Western Hills will actually be playing China Springs. In China Springs, his mom, out of Western Hills, Miss LaShonda is one of the tellers here at the Wells Fargo here in Lake Worth. You stop by and see her, great person to talk to. Her son is a running back for Western Hills, and so we were talking about that today as I stopped by there to take care of some Booster Club action. Also, where do we have? Pulling up in our district, we're looking for that Kennedale game. Where do we have Kennedale? Kennedale coming through. You have Kennedale playing Waco La Vega. So Kennedale is matching up with Waco La Vega for this Friday night at 7:30 p.m. I don't see a posted field for that. I have to get that later. But you guys can take a look. Max Preps is where I'm looking at right now. So maxpreps.com, and also uiltexas.org /football/playoff brackets /4AD1. That right there is where you get actually to the actual playoff bracket breakdown. If you like to look at that, like to track that kind of stuff, that's what I kind of look at to use here. It looks like Dunbar will be facing off against Stephenville. So you have Lake Worth versus Alvarado. You have Kennedale versus La Vega. You have Dunbar versus Stephenville. And the other one we have here is we have Western Hills playing China Springs. Woo! Those are going to be some games. Matching up with that other district, the Bullfrogs enter into a district in playoffs to play a district that has top 10, top 15 teams in it. So really going out to prove a point by wanting to take this first playoff game and do something with it here. The Bullfrogs haven't been by-district champs in quite a while, and so seeing that and that crowd that was here last Thursday night was great. And when Coach Welch was able to get out here and talk a little bit about it, we'll dive into that a little bit deeper. But to give you guys a little bit more stats off the season, what the Bullfrogs have, Bullfrogs points for, Bullfrogs scored 282 points this season. And then the points against only had 29 points total scored against the Bullfrogs. They're actually, that was just in district. Just in district play, 282 points for, 29 against. Overall, the Bullfrogs in the season 8-2, points for a total of 364 points total overall for the season, and points against less than 100 at 86. And so the Bullfrogs really, the whole season long, really was amongst the top of the charts. Points for, the Bullfrogs had the most points for, the least amount of points against, number one in both of those categories, the best record, overall win-loss record in the district. So it says a lot. A lot of times you get to look at these numbers and they kind of flop a certain way because the team runs more, or maybe they throw the ball more, or field position has always been, their special teams are great, so the field position doesn't allow you to get a lot of yards. So you've seen that before, where at the top of the chart, maybe your points for wasn't as much, or your points against was high and your points for was even higher. So the Bullfrogs really have topped the charts in the district with that. And looking at the players, trying to go in here and look at the players. So we got Coach Welch coming up here, and we'll jump into some of those numbers here. But right now, currently the Bullfrogs are preparing as this rain clears a little bit. It's going to make for a nice cool evening here. And we'll get this thing rolling.
Test 1, 2.
Yeah.
Hello, Joy.
Good afternoon, Coach. How we doing?
Oh man, it's been busy day.
Busy day. So busy. Like it already done flushed last week, and it's already long gone. We'll try to pull it back up a little bit just to talk about it a little bit, but then we'll let it go. But hey, last week Bullfrogs secure by-district champions, and did it in style.
Well, I thought we played hard. I thought Eastern Hills come out fired up and motivated, and of course their backs were against the wall. We didn't make a big deal of it with our kids, but with the monstrosity that happened the week before against Dunbar, it opened up the situation for Western Hills to get back in the playoff scenario. and so Eastern Hills had to beat us to get themselves in the playoff. So they their back was against the wall, so they had to win, and they came out fired up. But again, that's one of those deals where you get some scores down, and you have some bad things happen to you, and those type of things, and you just kind of drop your head. And had a lot of internal fighting. I heard they had some fighting on the sidelines, and I think they even had a parent come out of the stands and getting a fight with the coach in there. So not a good situation for them, but a good situation for the Bullfrogs, and we took advantage of it. Thought our kids played well. We played very focused. We took the opening kickoff back for a touchdown. Kind of changed up our kickoff return to something we had did at the first of the year, but our last few games, game planning and so forth, we had to change our kickoff returns. We came back out with our normal kickoff return and took one to the house there by Dante Reese. And I just thought our kids came out focused and hard. I played hard. I thought our coaches came out focused and took care of business and wrapped up the district championship, first time in 4A school history. So very, very proud of our kids and proud of our coaches.
I love that, Coach. So looking at that game, as we depicted it from the booth, the Bullfrogs were playing playoff caliber last Thursday night. Not without any mistakes. There were some small mistakes here and there, but playoff caliber, the intensity, the execution on all sides of the ball. We got a chance to see what the Bullfrogs did, causing a safety, blocking a punt. All those things that you see that happened in the game, it seemed like every cylinder was just firing off last Thursday.
I just thought our kids came out focused and took the game plan all three phases. I mean, you open up. I tell them all the time, you either go start off a kickoff or kickoff return. We've got to make an impact right now. We've got to make something happen right now and make a statement. And that opening kickoff return, going back to the touchdown, that was a statement. Of course, I take a lot of pride in special teams. I know that we coach it hard, and our kids are very, very focused on special teams because we spend so much time on it. And so, again, I thought all three phases of the game was prepared, and I thought we won all three phases of the football game the other day.
I thought so as well. Going back just a little bit, going into that game, I know the thought on the community's mind, on the alumni's mind, and as everybody gets around by the local watering holes and talk about football and everything else, it definitely was on my mind. Knowing that Eastern Hills had beat Dunbar, a lot of people look at the score, and if they didn't see the film and what that looked like, a lot of people didn't know what to expect coming in that Eastern Hills game. And could Eastern Hills upset the Bullfrogs because they beat Dunbar and Dunbar had beat Lake Worth? What was the focus coming into that game on Thursday, though? I know you guys were focused, but just a mind thought of the game. Anything that was on anybody's mind?
Well, I think the same thing. You can go back if you just pull up the scores. Then you saw that Kennedale only beat Eastern Hills by 15 points. And wow, Eastern Hills really played good defense that game. It just so happens they forfeited that game, and that's how Kennedale got the victory. You pull up the game from Stephenville against Alvarado from 2 weeks ago, and you're going to see that Alvarado beat Stephenville. Well, what you don't see is Stephenville put the backups in a 21-point lead and came back and lost the game. So a lot of things you don't know about and you don't see in those situations. The Eastern Hills Dunbar game that you're talking about, where Eastern Hills beat Dunbar, was a Saturday morning game. They got changed on them late in the week. By the administration over in Fort Worth. They thought it was more important to play that game on a Saturday, more safer for the fans and so forth. And, they did what they had to do. But at the same time, you saw some players from Dunbar playing against Eastern Hills that you don't normally see, which tells me they played that game without some starters. So, those things happen. And at this level, you take some starters out, you'd have some injuries and so forth, and it hurts you. That's one of those things. Yeah,
just talking about that there, having a game that gets changed in the week and you're not playing. Lake Worth didn't play on their normal day on Friday. They played on Thursday last weekend, and Dunbar having to make that change to Saturday. Folks who were they're tuning in from home. This is Texas high school football, and everybody's got their own situations, but sometimes those situations keep a team from almost keep them from winning if a kid can't make it there or a few kids can't make it there. Right. And unfortunately for Dunbar, they fell to Eastern Hills, but they came out and we already talked about that game when we played them. But looking into Friday night, I know I was down in Vidor watching my nephew play, and I can't look at the app. I think I texted you guys, and you're like, the game ain't till 7:30. They started down there at 6 trying to be out before the weather got there, but lo and behold, we still got rained on like a flat rock, and then by 7:30, the game was almost over, and then Kennedale kicked off, and we watched that. I was not holding my breath, but I was sure hoping that Kennedale came through and did what we knew that they could do against Dunbar, and it proved that was out of the way. So locked up all those positioning all fell into place last Friday night where everybody was going to fall to. And so looking forward to this week, Alvarado. Mm-hmm. You've got a little bit of time to process some film. So we've been a little bit since you guys were able to get early start on it, Friday or Saturday. Tell me what are we looking at moving into Alvarado game?
Looking at a motivated team. They're very, very focused right now. They lost their head football coach, and Jeff Dixon. Coach Dixon retired this last spring and went a little different direction. And they brought a new coach in. He's from Alvarado and from the area down there, and playing a lot of focus, a lot of excitement. They're playing just very solid football right now, and they're playing hard. Their offense, and I'll let Vance and Tracy get a little more in detail with all that. But just a football team right now that has played a tough district and come out of there with a 2-2 victory. You say whether they're seeded fourth, they're actually tied for second, and so it's a co-district championship and a co-runner-up championship type of deal. They just have to be seeded fourth because of the way those teams came out. It's only a 5-team district, but they're playing very motivated. They're very excited to be in the playoffs and playing as well as they are. You look at all three aspects: the offense, defense, and special teams. And they're just very, very solid in what they do, and it's going to be a slobber knocker come Friday night.
I think so, and those of y'all that are tuning in, we're going to announce it again, but this Friday night, the Bullfrogs will take on Alvarado at Apogee Stadium up in UNT. Is it Apogee or Apogee? I don't know.
I think it's Apogee.
Apogee, there we go. The APOGGEE, that stadium up in UNT, the one with the big stands. We can't tell if it's a feather wing or if it's a tail feather, whatever it is in that end zone. It's the tail feather? Seesaw was right. That's what I always said.
McAnally went to UNT, don't forget. So
that's right. I got it good with my bad hand, with my strong hand. I can do the claw for UNT.
I'll tell you what, let's go ahead and get Vance up here because we got to get out there and review. Raines out there now offensively, so let's get Vance up here and go through our defense and
let's
so forth.
Go.
And then we'll go ahead. I'll come back.
Let's do it. Coming up now, we got Coach McAnally. Coach Welch shaking the tail feather over there. All right. Well, Coach.
Hey, Joey.
How's some donuts?
Hey, donuts are always good.
Donuts are always good.
Always good.
So, I ran through with Coach Welch real quick. I know you are trying to get out there and get some review and some stuff done in between this weather and how it comes in. But so, rewinding back just a little bit, I know we're far removed from last Thursday. But last Thursday, the Bullfrogs come in. They come off of a hard loss off of Dunbar, and then they come in to prepare and on a short week to go out and play Eastern Hills, which all the ripples that was in the conversation was Eastern Hills beat Dunbar. Eastern Hills beat Dunbar, and what's it going to look like for Lake Worth? So let's jump into that. We know how it looked, but tell us a little bit from your side.
Well, we knew that Eastern Hills was extremely athletic. And we had a good beat on them. We knew pretty much what they were going to do. We had a good feeling. They're not very complicated. They're not going to try to trick you or anything like that. And we were able to get after them early. We blocked a punt, and after. First half, I think they had 38 yards total offense, and I don't think they had maybe one first down. Yeah, one first down. So it was, we did a really good job of getting after it. Their little quarterback could scoot, and we knew that. We had to keep him contained, and we did that, and we did that. In the second half, they got a few yards, but nothing of any substance. And they had one big play, and it was about a 30-yard run, but it was just prototypical Bullfrog, 2022 Bullfrog. We chased it down from behind and caused a fumble. Then after the fumble, Damian Moore picks it up, and we've got 8 or 9 just fantastic blocks, and we return it for a touchdown. So we had 3 of those big hustle plays last game. That was Hornell Klubu who chased that one down. Brian Neal, and I believe it was first half, they completed the very first play of the second quarter. We got kind of caught in a substitution thing with a free safety, and our free safety ran on late, didn't get lined up right, and they threw a screen, and Brian from the defensive end position ran their inside receiver, their slot receiver. He ran them down, made a big tackle. Very next play, we intercepted. We had another big hustle play in the game. Gage McAnally was the holder. They blocked an extra point, and he got up, and between him and Hornell, they took an angle and got the guy cut off and tackled, and they upheld our donuts.
That's right.
That's a donut-saving tackle.
There was it, the donut-saving tackle.
Yes.
I mentioned to Coach Welch a second ago the difference in watching this. You always want your team to get a little bit better every game in every aspect, but I think doing as well as the Bullfrogs have done and getting a little bit better each week and correcting some of those little small mistakes, taking that hard shot in the gut that the scoreboard said against Dunbar, and then coming back. It seems like to me from Dunbar to the Eastern Hills game. Well, it actually was the game after Kennedale. Diamond Hill took it. I mean, they took a charged up team on the chin because we came through just the levels. It's not just little steps. I've seen levels of growth and coming out, and then not only that, the sportsmanship that's upheld. We know how it can be in a game when you outscore somebody as well as the Bullfrogs did. My hat's off to defensive staff, defensive players, guys really holding up, and really the unsung heroes of defense that happens is when those piles happen in the middle. You can't really see those numbers all the time and call those guys out. But this last game we talked very much about the interior defense and the offensive line and what that has done for this Bullfrog team. And I can't say it enough, but you guys have been fantastic. Now, looking into Alvarado, I know we're a little bit removed from Thursday's game. Had a little early start Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Now here on Monday.
Yep.
Let's get into a little bit about Alvarado.
Alvarado is extremely balanced, very well coached football team. They're equally good at the run and the pass. They do a lot of the RPO stuff. They're gonna they're gonna fake it and throw it. They're gonna fake, throw it, and run it. So going to keep everybody honest. You've got to get in throwing lanes. You've got to be a sure tackler. They're going to throw some wrinkles at you that you probably haven't seen, so you got to be able to adjust on the run. You got to have some adjustability. Do multiple tempos, and so they're going to run it fast, and then run it not so fast, and then they're going to then they'll slow it down and try to peak and call the best play that they can, and when they're doing that kind of stuff, we'll be doing some things to try to give them a different look and do some that kind of stuff. But quarterback number 10, sophomore, a very good. He runs the offense well. I mean, he is runs that offense really well. Runs well, throws pretty well. At times he throws great. You just never know. He's a sophomore, but they've got number 32 is their starting free safety and is their starting H-back. He's a dude. He reminds me of Brian Neal, Hornell Klubu. That's what he looks like out there. He can flat run. He's physical. He's a really good football player. So a couple of running backs, 14 and 11, good solid running backs. But we gotta maintain. We gotta keep 10 in check, and they have in 32, their number one, their jersey number 1. He's their bell cow when they really want to throw it, and so we got to keep everybody contained, and they're going to complete some. They're going to get some runs. We got to get them tackled and get them down, because good things happen when you get back in the huddle. As long as you're not lining up for extra point, we still got a chance, and that's what I'm always preaching to the kids. We've always got a chance, and many times this year we've got back in the huddle, and next play, 2 plays later, we're creating a fumble, interception, something like that. So.
Oh, we love that, Coach. Well, hey, we're gonna let you get out there, get out here doing some review and some planning and stuff. Hey, Coach, we look forward to it. Congratulations on the bye district.
Yeah, thank you, Joey. I
Appreciate
appreciate
you, Coach.
Okay, bye-bye.
It's just good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Joey. How you doing?
Good. I'm doing great. I'm glad the rain cleared. I just had to run out to Richardson and came right back. So I drove out in the rain and drove back in the rain, and now it's clear. So
Coach Welch has a switch in his office that he turns rain on and off.
That's what, because I didn't make the show this morning. He made sure to give me a little bit
for practice time. We turn it off and then we turn it on during the day. So
water the grass. Get that going. Well, Coach, I know you guys got some planning and some stuff to review and stuff you are doing, so I want to jump into it. Come off a heartbreaker against Dunbar. Really couldn't get the things done that we wanted to get done, but bouncing back, where if you won the Dunbar game, you're for sure in a spot in the district. But going to Eastern Hills game in a not so sure spot, the lines were not drawn in the sand yet. You had to come out and produce, Coach, and you guys produced. Let's jump into that.
We just started the games that count, just a little bit later. We knew we had to win one of the last 2 to get the number 1 seed. Certainly should have had that Dunbar game. I don't really need to say a whole lot more about that, I don't think. But came into Eastern Hills, I think the kids were ready to play. They knew it was on the line at that point, but since we gave the Dunbar game up, and, they came out. We ran the ball efficiently. We moved the ball down the field, threw the ball well. Friday night or Thursday night, and I tell you what, everything came out in our favor. Started off with a kickoff return for a touchdown. 18 seconds, might I add, took to get in the end zone.
Yeah, so that's the kick and the run.
As the offensive coordinator, you really like that, when you start off with 7 points on the board before you ever get the ball. So, Damian Moore, Dante Reese, the offensive line, the receiver group did a great job. It was just a good all-around offensive performance, and I was pleased with the kids to finish the district that way. So.
Oh, 100%. I was just mentioning to Mac now, that the most unsung players on the field, offensive defense, is that interior, whether it's the line, the defensive line, or the interior offensive line. And one of the things we made sure to point out on Friday night was –
And, they're the key to the whole game.
Yeah,
but they never get their name in the paper. They're just out there, and that's what I coached offensive line where I came from for 20 years, 25 years there, and you understand that those guys, they're just there to play football. They don't have to have the ball to be happy. They just want to go out there and play, and that's a fun group to coach. So.
Oh yeah, and when you have a motivated group like this, I mean, when you can see the amount of movement that you get off of the offensive line, the push, the initial first step. Really, everybody always talks about that first step. What the Bullfrogs have really been great at this season is the first 2 steps. Yeah. And that what people don't realize, given that second step then gives the running back vision to be able to see multiple lanes at a time. And you could see that between Damian Moore and Dante Reese on Thursday night. You could see them; they were actually able to pick and choose as they were going through. It was kind of like a mouse in a maze. He could smell the cheese and figure out which way he wanted to get there. So,
and that was a tough defensive front Friday night. Coming out early, we had trouble. I think we ended up with a 3rd and medium or something on our first drive there, and ran a draw play, and Damian got loose on the backside back there and put one in the end zone. But you weren't just going to line up and run the ball down their throats. Because they got some good-looking athletes in there, So that's a good team. That's a good team.
Yeah, they do have some pretty good-looking athletes out there. They're from the passing side of the game. I thought their DBs. It wasn't that they were just really easy and soft.
Right.
It was just that Dante was able to put the ball in the place.
He did.
The right plays were being called, and we saw that long pass, the longest one of the night to Chuchu Meza down the field. Which I think everybody likes to see that because everybody sees Choo inside and blocking and taking short runs, and then pop out every so often and take a run down the field.
Those are the drives. The one you're talking about there are the ones that make you happy as an offensive coordinator because we got the ball, I think about 60 yards from the goal line. We had 40 seconds to get there because halftime was coming up, and we had 0 timeouts. And so our first play, we we hit the back out of the backfield right down the middle of the play and get about 50 of the 60. I think we got down to around the 10-yard line, maybe the 7, somewhere in there. And then the second play we scored, so it didn't take long.
Yeah, turn around, little Brett Favre jump pass from Reese to Reese to Alvarez.
To Alvarez, that's right. Don got his first touchdown of the year. That's right.
We were talking about that on the radio. I was like, I told him, I said, because Coach Alvarez kind of patted me when they walked out for halftime. He goes, Don got a touchdown. I was like, yeah. I said, now you can quit crying to you.
That's right.
Well, Coach, real quick before we wrap it up for you. So everything else, the season's washed, it's down, it's digested. The by-district championship trophies in the case, or will be.
The district championship trophy.
The district championship trophy.
There you go. We're playing by-district this week. That's right.
By-district this week. The district championship trophy going into by-district championship
exactly right.
this week. So, moving into Alvarado. Uncharted territory for the Bullfrogs. Bullfrogs hadn't played Alvarado in probably, I don't know, a couple decade or two. So let's jump into that.
We were trying to schedule them preseason, and we couldn't get our schedules worked out together. And we knew the head coach that had left Alvarado pretty well. His son was coaching for us last year, and then they had a coaching change in the middle of it too. But yeah, they're a solid football team. Coach has done a very good. Wall Raven is his name. Has done a very good job coming in there and building on what was already a good program. And so defensively, I can talk about them. They don't look like Eastern Hills physically, but they've got some big, strong boys, but they play very well. They're very disciplined. They're always in the right spot. They play hard, and so it's going to be a tough defense. Now, they've been on paper. They give up a lot of yards and they give up a lot of points. But you look at the teams that they've played in their district. Three of them I think were ranked in the top 10 at one time. So
yeah, that's what I'm looking at. That's kind of one of those things, and I'll wrap back around with Coach Welch. Looking at the stats, people look at Alvarado, they look overall season, they're a 500 team. They look at district, they're a 500 team.
Yeah.
And then you look at points for and points against them. They've scored 380 points on the season, and they've had 379 points scored against them.
That's right.
So you look at those things, the numbers can start playing a trick on you because they don't really tell the story of how it's all laid out. That's some big-time
offenses they've been playing, and they ended up tied for second in that district, just moved to fourth spot on points there. So, yeah, it's a good team.
Yeah.
Very solid.
Yeah, so, Coach, we're going to let you get back to review and everything else.
Yes,
I appreciate you. Good luck this week.
Thank you. We'll see you Friday night, Joe.
All right, Coach.
Joy, you got it from the experts.
From the experts. So, Coach, as I was just wrapping up with Coach Raines, I was talking about numbers and records can really play a number on your mind, especially young players. They're used to looking at, seeing things, and being able to talk about those. And we've talked about it multiple times this season. And I know you guys always maintain focus, and that's a big deal. What you guys do, but how do you continue to maintain focus when the kids, the first thing they do is pull up Alvarado? What does their season look like? How they look like? A 500 team on the season, a 500 team in their district. They've only scored one more point than they've given up in the entire season. So how do you manage that? I know you guys, everybody knows a little bit of your philosophy, but how do you guys manage keeping them from getting their heads in that and letting it kind of blow a little helium in their heads?
Good. Let's let it blow in there, and let's go into this game positive and excited and very confident. Now the thing I tell them is very simply this: they're in a tough district. They're in there with La Vega and China Springs and Stephenville, and they beat Stephenville. So why did they beat Stephenville? Well, I shared it with you a while ago. First of all, our understanding is Stephenville had 5 or 6 starters that were injured, as well as put their backups in the fourth quarter. They was up by 21 points. They came back and lost the game, and Alvarado went for a 2-point conversion, and that's how they ended up beating them. But I'm gonna go back to the Appalachian State versus Texas A&M. You can throw all those type of things in there. The Bull don't care what happened yesterday.
That's right.
You back a dog into a corner because he's gonna come out fighting. You back a possum in the corner, he's gonna come out with those teeth baring and try to bite you and get out of there. Eastern Hills the other day was backs against the wall. They had to win to get in the playoffs, and we knew if we took care of business early, we thought that they might drop their heads, and they did. I thought the week before against Dunbar, they had a helping hand that kept them in the ball game against us. This team this week, they don't give up, and that's obvious by what happened 2 weeks ago against Stephenville, because they did keep fighting and they came back and won the ball game. They're playing with a lot of excitement from Coach Walraven and his staff over there. His defensive coordinator used to coach with us in Copper Cove, and I know the man well. Good coach, good program they're running. So we just got to go in there and take care of our business. I tell our kids all the time that scoreboard takes care of itself, and you just can't get focused on who beat who and how's that old song go? Who's cheating who and who's being true and who don't even care anymore. I don't care anymore. We have to go take care of ourselves. Go play the football game. That scoreboard takes care of itself. So the team with the fewest mistakes, the team who executes their offense, takes care of football drives, doesn't turn the ball over to interceptions and fumbles, the defense that plays good solid football, makes good reads and good technique, and then the special teams that takes care of the football and gets through the speed zone on kickoff, all the different things. That's going to be the winner of this game. It's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be a Lake Worth versus Kennedale type of football game, and I really believe that.
I do as well. You know, the Bullfrogs, those of y'all that tune in or are listening in, Bullfrogs haven't played Alvarado in several seasons, probably more than a decade or so, in a district matchup at all, period. And so to come out here, you know, I look at Alvarado as one of those teams that are one of those programs that are hard-nosed, outside of city limits.
Yes.
Springtowns, Kennedales, Aledos, those type of programs that you have where you're kind of away from all the noise and really able to focus in on some football. And I think that, you know, playing, I mean, they when they played China Springs, they played Stephenville, those are all teams that have programs like that, and that's what I love here at Lake Worth. Although we are landlocked as far as city limits go, what you guys have helped create here and have really brought up in this area is you've brought that small town feel, that really tight community to come back together in athletics as a whole, but for me mostly here in football. And we can't thank you guys enough for really inviting everybody in to be a part of the journey with you guys as we go. And having this radio station has helped everybody be even closer to that. You know, people working, all that things. We get people tuned in. Last week we had a gentleman by the name of Robert Morrell that tuned in. That was great and cordial from Eastern Hills. That just really liked just being able to talk and kind of hear the things that were going on. So for our experience that we create for our fans, the experience we've been allowed to create for other people, for these kids to be able to go back and watch through and go back and they can hear their names called or whatever else it may be, or their parents that are in the military that are out of state and they can't make it for games. It's been a wonderful blessing for you guys to bring this initially and what the school district has allowed us to do with it moving forward. And before we get off here and I give you your final words, I want to give a big shout out to Eagles Nest Sports Restaurant located at 8455 Boat Club Road. You guys, those guys have been amazing every year, an anniversary sponsor. They've sponsored every year since we've had the show, and we appreciate them so much. Stop by there any time of the week. Stop by breakfast, lunch, or dinner. Go catch all the games you want. Take the family there. It's a great place. If you got people in town, take a whole group up there. It's just a great atmosphere. It's a fun, small town community atmosphere is what I like to call it there at the Eagles Nest. And also to Stephen Barber's Insurance, State Farm Insurance Agent, multiple locations here in the northwest side of Loop 820 here in Fort Worth. You guys can contact them at 817-238-2265 for all your auto, home, life, health, renters, and business insurance. Stephen Barber, we appreciate you presenting those Player of the Weeks little plaques that we have out there. Thank you so much for being a part of an integral part of this community and showing up. That's what we ask everybody to do, is just show up and support these kids and support each other, and we appreciate that. And as I get those spots out of the way, Coach, any closing words looking forward to this week? District champs going for the by-district championship.
Well, I think I kind of got on a roll there a while ago, but you got two teams here going into the playoffs. Win, you're in, and lose, you're done. And so both of our backs are against the wall, and it's going to be a slobber knocker. It's going to be a game where whoever makes the fewest mistakes is going to win the ball game. I really believe that. We'll have our kids ready. I think our kids are focused. I know our coaching staff is, and I know we've got a couple spirit buses. Dr. Seaton is getting organized. Going to take up there to travel up there with us. So I'm looking for a great crowd at North Texas, and of course the fans that went last time, the first game of the year against Ferris, they know how nice of a stadium it is and easy on, easy off it is. So it's just exciting about another playoff game and going up there and seeing Alvarado and look forward to the community and everyone being up there. If not there, make sure you tune in to the streaming here and let's go up there and get these guys.
Yeah, and speaking of the streaming, we'll make sure to get out the right information for you. As the actual live game will be streamed on NFHS, so you'll have to catch the actual game footage on NFHS. But you can put that on your TV or your laptop and bring your phone up. You can listen to us commentate live on Friday night. But hey, this Friday night, and you said it's 7 o'clock or 7?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock. It's a fight for the trophy that's buried down in the bird's nest up there at Applegate Stadium at UNT. Bullfrog is going to be there digging it out. Alvarado's going to be there fighting it out. Come out and check it out. It's going to be a great game. I'd love to hear you. I'd love to see your comments on the radio, but I'd much rather love to see you in the stands.
That's right.
We thank you guys so much for Lake Worth ISD, Coach Welch, staff, these kids, these players. I'm Joy Wilcox. This is Bullfrog Radio, and as always, let's go.